And so the two umpires are changing hands. We're going to be seeing the continuing of Addison off spin, and still the two fielders on the fence on the leg side, the big gap at third man, and big gap at mid-wicket, which I think is the best gap of them all. Addison into bowl, and it's pulled, and the fielder at deep backward square leg will collect it in.
Comfortably worked around it, and I think this will be what a live playing will want. They want an opportunity to bowl consecutive deliveries at to wide there, put them under some pressure there. So we see Addison once more. A bit of air and forces Dwyer to the front foot, poking it. There was a silly point, he'd be in play, but as there's almost all of the time in F2, there is no silly point.
Which is disappointing. I love attacking spinners. Addison into bowl, and it's a full toss, and it's glanced, and it is unable to beat the fielder at mid-wicket, and he dives and he scrambles and he stops it. Stop ball.
That's one thing you can do, especially when you're experiencing cricket for the first time at the senior level, is try and get as much on the full toss. It sort of minimises the variable changes.
So obviously now Addison is starting to get into his rhythm. He's getting his fingers in the right position, so he's not bowling as badly as he was in his first over. He's actually getting pretty much in that right area. Oh yeah, like that, except a bit shorter than that. It means it gets into that awkward position where you have to stretch to get it on the half volley, so you're not sure whether to play it on the front foot or the back foot. That is perfect spin length. Oh yeah, that's the stuff, that's the stuff. Good stuff from Addison. Just the one run off it. It's 35 for 1. So we've got a change of the bowling at the childcare centre end. Lacey, the opening bowler, right arm, medium fast.
Was the chief in the first innings, 8 over 6 maidens, 2 for 2, so definitely was the pick of the bowlers, he and McKinnon. Although all 4 bowlers did a good job in the first innings, so see him as the 4th bowler, probably a little bit lower than what we expected. We were expecting him for the very first over.
Yeah, so they've decided to change it up. I don't know yet why. Whether it's tactical, or it's managerial, or it's issue of fitness, or anyway, Lacey into bowl, and it's a full toss, and Farah pushes it gently to mid-off for a dot ball. So Farah is batting in an interesting style, because some bad full tosses that he has decided not to try to slog for boundaries, and then the boundaries he has hit with the good balls. Lacey into bowl. It's short, and Farah goes for the cut shot, but it just skids on, so it gets misses the bottom edge, and it gets taken by the keeper.
One of the things the match situation definitely does change up how you bat there. Farah has certainly done those lofted drives well there, but those full toss which he would normally play if they were on top of the match, he's had to put away.
Lacey into bowl, and it was a half volley, and he pushed it for a dot ball, fielded there by the gully.
So Connor barking out his instructions there at first slip there. He's done a lot right so far this match, but this is probably his hardest period here, where that outright victory is starting to become less and less likely, although still a very good chance. This one's hoiked towards mid-wicket there. They're looking like they're going to get it, although it may have just trickled over past the cone. So a boundary from Farah, taking on probably the best ball of the over compared with full tosses, and yet finds a boundary.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not the usual batting style we expect in the local cricket, which is a nice surprise. Certainly, like I said about 20 minutes earlier, I like it when batsmen really are able to try to hit good balls for boundaries and try to actually get on top of the bowling, because in local cricket, bowling more often than not wins the day.
Lacey in once more. This one's to be defended by Farah. Fielded reasonably comfortably by Gully, and no run.
So Lacey into bowl. And it's a full toss, and this is driven much more forcefully, but mid-off comes around and stops it. So that's the end of the over. Just the boundary off it. It is 1-for-39. So we're coming into the 13th over of the Diamond Creek second innings now, and it's going to be Addison to continue, and they've brought in an attacking fielder, a silly mid-off, which means mid-off, orthodox mid-off has gone a bit wider.
Addison in. This will be...
Whoa! Goes, beats the batsman, beats the keeper, and they get a bye.
The change of field probably changed up the mindset of Dwyer there. Probably a bit more comfortable with no one in close. Now that someone came in close, instead of cutting or pulling that, they just had to swerve out of the way and miss behind the stumps, so they've actually picked up a run they otherwise wouldn't have.
What's O'Connor doing?
They're trying to work out a plan for Farah. It's just a little bit going through the motions when bowling the Farah there.
Oh, so O'Connor is swapping. Now he's going over to mid-on. He's obviously, maybe he knows something that we don't. Oh, and Addison's going around the wicket.
Maybe we're trying to bring in a change of angle there to upset the rhythm. This one will be a little bit too short and pulled away to backward square. Caldera, without too much of a fuss, will save 3 runs, so just the one. Score moves on to 41.
I'm not sure what the thinking of is over O'Connor having a silly mid-off for Dwyer, because generally you want the batsman to be driving. You don't want to discourage it by having attacking fielders there.
One thing he has been doing is reaching a little bit. If we'll see this one where he'll...
Oh, yeah.
Reach. So the theory being is that if he does block and reaches and hits, say, the glove, it'll pop up and be a catching opportunity. So I think that's the thinking.
But I like a bat pad. Bat pads for off spinners are always the best. And it's a full toss.
Play away quite comfortably from Dwyer there, and that will get his confidence up there. As we talked about, hasn't had the best start of his F2 career there, but has made a few runs in the juniors, and that one was a well-played shot.
So if you go back to another international cricket reference, Nathan Lyon. Now Nathan Lyon's best ground by a long distance is Brisbane, where he bowls, it's a little bit short of a length, the batsman tries to play it off the back foot, it bounces extra, it gets the glove, bat pad, he just tears teams apart at Brisbane, and that's why having a bat pad for the top spinning ball that catches the glove is the way for an off spinner to get wickets.
This time be driven, and
now,
be cut off.
That was not well played. So, interesting. Let's see what Addison does this time. And left alone, and no ball.
No ball from the front foot, no often you see that for your, well, for most bowls in this grade, let alone a spinner.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, that's the stuff. Little bit too full, but pretty much where you need it to be. So in the end, 7 runs from it, even though it was a pretty good over for lower plenty. It is 1-for-46. So it's about 2:15 now. 45 minutes to play before the lunch break. This is the 14th over.
Important patch here for Diamond Creek. If they can manage to maybe not be more than 2 down by the lunch break, puts O'Connor under a lot of pressure there, not only with the fact of getting the 8 wickets, but also the score.
11 overs, 3 runs and over, 33 extra runs. That brings the score to about 80. Lacey into bowl. Oh, well played by Farah. So 2 for 80 or 3 for 80. So the deficit is very small. Most of the Diamond Creek wickets are in hand, and suddenly outright victory is becoming less and less possible.
Really important period here, and Farah does hold the key, because not only will he hang around, but also score quickly. So he's just hang around.
Oh, well. Oh, he got a quick single, and are they going to have a ping? No, they don't. The fielder was unable to gather to his feet in enough time, and Farah was able to run the run.
It's really important there to make sure you don't lose your fundamentals of batting when you're so far behind the game there. That includes things like quick singles, loud calling, those sort of things, which you do as a habit there when the game's sort of evenly poised, but maybe not in this situation.
Okay, here's Dwyer. And it's a full toss and it's blocked.
Really important here for Dwyer just to hold his end there, hang around for as long as he can there. Lacey will be the biggest test of the lower plenty seamers, so if he can hang around for as long as he can, he will slowly build confidence.
Lacey in the ball, and it's another full toss, this time at the toes or at the ankles, and again Dwyer blocks it. It's continuing to be a very warm, very sunny, just a gentle breeze day. Lovely conditions for cricket. Lacey comes in to bowl. And it's, oh, well, what happened there?
That one was the length that he found in the first innings all so often there when he was bowling in the first innings. Just finding that just short of the length one. Probably still could leave it when you look at it in hindsight there, although it's easier said than done when you're out there in the heat of the battle.
Yeah, it was a bad thing because he didn't actually step towards the ball, he just sort of stepped where he thought the ball was going to be. Oh, he's definitely not getting his body weight into position fast enough and the ball is rushing him. So, just the one run off it, it is 47 for 1. Okay, so Addison to continue, off spin, at the river end, round the wicket to Farah with slip is a little bit wider for the round the wicket and still 2 fielders on the fence on the leg side. Other than that, everyone is saving 1. So what is the tactic for against Farah? Yeah, let's find out. Addison. Ooh.
Perhaps the thinking is perhaps a little bit more defensive there. When you think about what the angle does, is it sort of leans more towards the leg side because you're starting from such wide of the crease with your arm as in once more, which will be defended out to O'Connor there at wide mid on. Maybe the thinking being is that they do give him the single. The fact that there's 2 comfortable areas, one is a cow corner and the other is backward square for the single, and get to Warren to strike, put a bit more pressure on him.
And that's a full toss, and that beats the fielder at mid-off, and that goes into the boundary for 4.
But one of the things you need to do is, if you are going to concede the single there, you've got to make sure you hit your length. Your line doesn't matter so much because even if it's a little bit down leg, it'll either be glanced for 1 or missed the keeper. But if you get a full toss there, it does bring the boundaries into play there. So if they are trying to concede the 1, it's got to make sure that Addison hits the pitch and lets it spin.
Yeah.
Of course, that 4 brings up the 50 for Diamond Creek.
50 for Diamond Creek. They've already beaten their first innings target. Their first innings total. And well played by Farah. He curved his wrists as he blocked it to make sure that if the ball bounced or spun a bit more than he was expecting, then he wouldn't get the edge. Addison into bowl, and over the head of O'Connor, and the fielder has to come around, and they'll get 2 there. Good shot there from Farah. He was able to get underneath it and scoop it over the head of mid-off, and the fielder all the way at deep mid-wicket actually had to run around like 30 metres to actually pick that up.
One of the risks you have when you have probably one of your least athletic fieldsmen in O'Connor at mid-on.
And driven off the full toss, and it beats the field. Bit of a bridge there for the fielder at mid-off. Bit of a Westgate Bridge fielding style as it goes for 4. And Addison, despite having some good balls here and there, is getting hit around. So that was 10 runs off it. So they're nearly going at 4 runs and over here. It's 57 for 1. Alright, so it's the 16th over of the innings. Lacey to continue.
This is the 26th over the innings, so after this one they'll have probably about 8 more till the tea break. The teams will reassess how they're going there, so really important time here for both sides. Dwyer defends this one out to mid-off, comfortably fielded, so no chance of a run. So the extra cover, or cover point, seems to be a bit closer than the ring. But Caldera marginally closer. It's only, say, about 3 or 4 metres there, but perhaps looking for a catch as opposed to saving one.
And another push. Again, he's pushing with his arms rather than with his feet. So I'm not seeing Dwyer actually step into the ball and actually try to use his body weight to stroke into the ball. Rather, he's just placing his front foot down, getting into a base, and then trying to push with his arms.
Well, something I have to work on is Lacey will fire this one into the off stump, but Dwyer again seeing it out, squirts out to Caldera once more. The voice of low playing is just starting to drop off a little bit there, so the wheels have certainly turned if Diamond Creek on top at this point.
And pushed, blocked again off the full toss. Now, obviously, the game can end at any point as long as the two captains agree to it. So if Lower Plenty feel like they've lost hope of an outright victory, they'll probably concede, and Diamond Creek will definitely take it. They'll definitely want to end the game as soon as possible.
Well said.
Oh dear! Oh dear! That was a really bad shot. His front foot was at about leg stump. He didn't step over to where the ball was, which is about an off stump. Instead, he sort of stepped down leg to leg, and that meant there was a huge gate between bat and pad, and the ball went through it. Lacey into bowl, and much better block shot there by Dwyer, not because he played it better, but because the ball was more at leg stump. So maiden there, it is still 57 for 1. Okay, Addison into bowl.
So that particular delivery there is probably what you want from Addison there, because even if Farah is able to glance it, he's only going to be the one there. He's making sure he hits the pitch and reducing the chance of a boundary. Even if he wants to sweep, they've got the deep backward square.
Addison to continues and Farah blocks it.
Definitely holding his nerve here, Farah. It's certainly tempting to go after him with the gap probably a deep square leg.
Ooh.
Well called through from Dwyer there, with scoring to 58. So anyway, we've got going back over the wickets to Dwyer. This one is way too full and goes through that gap there, racing away towards the goal posts as the boundary. They'll probably leave it at 2. Caldera's got a pretty mobile arm, although his throw does no justice to the commentary.
So that's an ugly ball there by Addison. And Dwyer able to get some runs, boost his confidence, and that was a good ball by Addison. That was a good ball, short of a length. Dwyer had to push at it, stretch out. He was able to actually smother it, but if the ball spins a little bit more, it might just get the glove. Addison into bowl. The slip fielder is a bit wide. The slip fielder hasn't adjusted to going over the wicket. And that is, and what's this?
They could be looking at a drink here.
Oh, is there like a regulation for drinks after an hour straight of play?
Not that I know of, but it seems like that's what they're doing. There's nothing else that jumps to mind. Certainly too far early for a tea break. 2:30 PM, so perhaps they are looking at a drink here. Give it another 35 minutes and then call the scheduled tea break.
Alright, so then let's send you back to our sponsors. It is 60 for 1. So it appears that the drinks break is coming to an end. The players are returning to the field after some refreshments. The score, the time is 2:30. So, and how many overs have we had in today's play?
We've had 27, so still got 41 if required to get through today.
So how long do you think they'll play before you decide to take the full dinner break?
Well, 3 is the scheduled one, and I think they won't vary from that there. They
So
want to make sure it does
they'll
a lot.
half an hour of play.
Well, what it ends up working out to be is that when the tea break of the lower grades finishes, is when the tea break of the higher grades begins. So they work it simultaneously with that. So there is a method behind them there.
Because there's only so much table room for all those snacks.
Exactly right. Although there is quite a few tables there at Diamond Creek Club Rooms. So 1 for 60 off 17 Diamond Creek drivers there. Farah's been the chief here of the innings so far. Dwyer certainly provided ample support so far there. Although he hasn't put away necessarily as many runs as he would have liked, certainly has looked, well, comfortable enough considering the match situation.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything stupid, that's for sure.
Lacey in again. This is fired in again. It's that off stump, which he's done so all this match. Farah comfortably working it back to him.
Lacey doesn't look as nearly as dangerous as he was in the first innings when he had the new ball, and the ball was just moving a little bit outside the off stump and it was bouncing a little bit extra. He looked just a menace, but now he looks much more ordinary and comfortable. Oh, driven, and it beats the gap between point and cover, and the gully fielder has to run around, and they just get the one.
He's just still working on the ball there. They've got the red mark on his trousers, so clearly trying to work on the ball to get a bit of swing, or even the less common reverse swing. Not quite working so far there.
This is not a good ground for getting reverse swing. The grass is too luscious and there's not enough sand in the soil. And well blocked there by Dwyer. Again, he's just kneeling down at about his position at leg stump, squatting and trying to move his arms to push at the ball. He's not stepping into it.
Which makes it feel a little bit surprising, as we'll talk about just after this Lacey fourth delivery of the over. You would think that someone who is a comfortable driver of this field would suit, because of the fact that you can try and drive the runs, force a rash shot, try and get him to hit aerial. I don't think Dwyer will mind if his cover drives up runs there. I think you'll find his runs will come through, say, mid-wicket or a square leg region. So I'd like to see one of them come out and maybe become a catching man.
Lacey into bowl, and bad ball down the leg side. So I reckon there are two things you could do. One is to try to attack the leg stump and his pads and try to see whether he'll step inside it or outside it. So have a attacking short square leg and try and pepper the leg stump. The other one is to have a gap in the covers and to see and bowl it wide of off stump and see if he'll stretch out and try and drive it.
That'd be my thinking. Add in a second slip, maybe extra no gully as well. This one's left alone. So the end of the 18th over, it's 1 for 61.
So Addison is to continue.
This is your 6th over of this particular spell there. As captain, how many overs do you think you need to see of a spinner before you can work out if he's dangerous or not?
Typically 3 or 4 is enough to decide what to do with him as Addison comes into bowl.
This one will fall just short of the boundary and won't be able to be cut off, so another boundary there to Farah there. Again over pitch, and that's a half century to Farah. This is actually his 2nd half century here at Marngrook Oval and his 5th score above 50 in his career at Diamond Creek. He's within reaching distance of his high score here at the ground with 64 he made against Thomastown.
Very good stats there, Haydos, very good stats. So 50 runs from a score of 65.
This one will be driven straight back.
Not the best fielding by Addison, using the inside of the shoe method.
Toad's having fun at the fielding effort.
Addison. Oh, he's bowling. He's not quite getting that length right.
Might be worth a change there. Maybe look at someone like an Anderson who did so much damage in the first innings there with 4 wickets. Although maybe they're waiting the same for the left-handers who we had well on top of.
And it's a quick single pushed out to mid-off and a ping, but no luck. So 1 run there to Farah, and I don't think that they're bowling very well to Farah for Addison. There's no clear plan. There's no idea of how the wicket will fall. But for Dwyer, look at this. Look, like they have an idea. They know what they're trying to do.
This one will be playing the leg side. Well, what seems to be the plan for O'Connor is to try and dry up the runs on the leg side for Dwyer. So far he's held his nerve and only hit the bad balls away through that gap there at wide mid-wicket. But at least it's an idea, force him to hit over the top.
Pushed there straight to the silly mid-off for a dot ball. And end of the over. It's 1 for 66. So, this is the 20th over of the Diamond Creek innings. They're going at a little bit more than 3 runs and over. The score is 66 for 1. Oh! They've brought an extra field onto the offside.
6-3 field with Lacey. This one is marginally outside off, played comfortably there to Gully. So I think maybe the idea for Farah will be to dry up the runs there, force him to hit through the field or over the top there, which he's been prepared to do there, but it's a lot harder against Lacey than, say, someone like Ken Addison or even a Caldera to a lesser extent.
Lacey into bowl. And it's driven, it's a straight hit, and the cameraman can just ease into that. Oh, beautiful camera work, and they're going to field it up just before the boundary.
Gives you an idea of how short these boundaries are straight off the wicket there. Hitting right near the boundary, however, there's only 2 runs in it there, so very short boundaries and right along the carpet.
Lacey into bowl, and very comfortably blocked out there by Farah. Farah seems in complete control with everything he's doing. Every way he moves his wrists, every way he moves his bat, everywhere he moves his feet. He just seems to know what he's trying to do, and he's just going around and doing it. Even when you notice flaws in his technique, they're part of his batting technique.
Exactly right. It's signs of his best, which he hasn't provided for a little while. Lacey will get that one right outside off. When you look at some of his bigger scores there, he can certainly capitalise on the starts he makes. He's made 3 centuries there, so he's got the ability to kick on. Just a matter of whether he gets to that point, which he hasn't this summer until today.
Absolutely. So, the deficit is just into the mid-30s now. Oh, bad shot there. Way down the leg side, hits the pad, and a muted appeal from Lower Plenty. So there's a big gap there at mid-wicket, so if Farah thinks he can play that leg glance, he's certainly welcome to do so. Lacey into bowl, and pushed down to, sort of clamped down on a Yorkish sort of ball. So it is 1 for 68.